Hello and welcome to me once again rambling about something I want to ramble about. Today's topic is The World Ends With You, and I just want to go through all the days of the game and just point out one random fact. This could be an Easter egg or some foreshadowing or really just anything I find interesting enough. So, by the nature of this video, there of course will be spoilers for the entire game. There will be no spoilers for Neo though, so don't worry about that. Some of the earlier facts are often foreshadowing for later reveals in the story, so I wouldn't recommend watching this unless you have finished the main story of The World Ends With You. So, yeah, enjoy. On week 1, day 1, Joshua makes a very brief appearance before the scene where Neku and Shiki make their pact. This is clear on the DS version since you can see the crowd during the dialogue sections, but he is a little more indistinct, so it kind of balances out with the remix versions. But yeah, this is a fun bit of foreshadowing for him saying that he's been spying on Neku for a while. Week 1, day 2 introduces us to Beat and Rhyme. When introducing themselves, Beat stutters while introducing Rhyme because he's used to calling her his sister instead of his partner, which really makes future playthroughs after knowing this quite a bit sadder. Week 1, day 3 gives players the mission to erase the master of A East. This is accomplished by Beat and Rhyme using their psyches. Beat's psyche is a skateboard, as we see in week 3 when he becomes Neku's partner, but we also see that Rhyme's psyche is some kind of shockwave-like psyche. This is likely sourced from a pin, as she gives Neku and Shiki the cure drink pin on day 2, implying that that was the only one of the pins she and Beat were given that she couldn't use. We see with Neku and Shiki that every player is given a certain amount of pins to start with, Shiki with pyrokinesis and Neku with his various starter pins. This means Beat and Rhyme would have to have been given enough pins, well, at least more than just cure drink, so it is likely that Rhyme uses pins as her psych source, similar to Neku. Week 1, day 4 has Rhyme die, getting erased by the shark noise. We also see Neku having some kind of memory, saying it's just like that time, but then struggling to remember what time he was talking about. This alludes to his dead best friend that's explored more in another day, who died and led Neku to his mindset that he's in during the start of the game, that he doesn't need friends and he doesn't want to open up to anyone because he'd just get hurt. In week 1, day 5, we see Mina and Ai. Mina is actually friends with Eri, but doesn't know Shiki for some reason, as Shiki doesn't recognize her, and we see in day 6, when Eri is talking to Mina, that when she brings up Shiki, Mina hasn't heard of her before. Week 1, day 6 has Makoto go around giving out pins to a lot of people, such as Shooter and Futoshi, but this is significantly the first appearance of Soda and Now, who become important players in week 2. Just thought that was pretty interesting. While not revealed on week 1, day 7, we see later on that during this day, Neku and Shiki as well as Beat are brought to the big white room of reckoning area where Kitaniji gives them their, options. Beat becomes a Reaper, and Shiki is selected as the one to be brought back to life, before being taken again as Neku's entry fee, because she is what is most important to him. But what's never actually explained in the main story is that Kitaniji is just lying here. The only reason he chose Shiki to be the person to be brought back to life and also be taken as Neku's entry fee is because the composer is absent, and the composer is the only one who can bring people back to life. So Kitaniji just had to dance around the fact that he didn't actually have the authority nor the ability to restore anyone, so he cleverly used Shiki as the way to hide that. On week 2, day 1, there is an interesting difference between the DS version and Final Remix. In the DS version, Joshua calls Neku by his name before asking what his name is. This was removed in Final Remix for some reason, because I think it was just kind of cool to give him a kind of... It kind of foreshadows how Joshua selected Neku as his proxy and of course has been watching over him for quite a while now. Week 2, day 2 closes with a scene of Beat on top of a building with his Reaper wings holding the pin that contains Rhyme's soul. Behind him is a sign that says, "The Slime." Don't know why that's there, don't know what it means. I just think it's funny that there's just a sign that says, "The Slime." Week 3, day 3 has Joshua and Neku visit Hanakoma at his cafe. This is where he drops the title of the game, The World Ends With You. Absolute cinema. Week 2, day 4 opens with Neku and Joshua playing Tin Pin Slammer against each other. After Neku wins, he strikes a funny mimicking pose, mimicking one of Josh's poses that he does a lot. This is the only time that pose is used, so yes, this is what took priority over making true form Shiki sprites for another day. Week 2, day 5 is given the title Turf. Episode 6 of The World Ends With You, the animation, is also called Turf. This is because this is the only day to have been adapted into a whole anime episode by itself. And it is probably the best episode in the show, because it's paced well. Who would have known? Week 2, day 6 doesn't have a whole lot of interesting facts I could grab, but one cool fact is that this is where Soda and Nao die, and Neku actually mourns for them, after convincing himself he didn't need anyone else, and that attachments just led to hurt. Neku now sees that attachments are important even if they do end in hurt, as he tells Joshua. Week 2, day 7 has Neku and Joshua go to Mark City to fight Minamimoto. At the end of this fight, Minamimoto creates a level I flare and attacks Neku and Joshua with it. Joshua pushes Neku off the roof and tanks the whole attack himself. But it is later revealed that Joshua did not die because he is the composer. He instead went to another world to hide out for a little while. This other world is the world of Another Day, which is the funny Beyblade chapter that appears at the end of the game if you finish it, and it has the least serious tone like ever. So yeah, Joshua just went there, which is why there's 2 Joshuas in that chapter. A new week begins with week 3, where the new game master is Konishi. We see a little scene of Konishi talking to Kitaniji, before Kitaniji leaves and Konishi is talking to herself for a little bit. This is the first time we see Konishi talking in non-square speech bubbles, showing her tone is slightly more, well, I guess slightly less formal when not putting up a front for Kitaniji. Week 3, day 2 has Konishi appear to take Beat's entry fee. This is the noise made up of Rhyme's soul that he keeps with him. But it's important to note that having that Rhyme noise in the final battle when Konishi took away the rest of Neku's pins is what made her lose. So if she didn't do that, she might not have lost on day 7. Week 3, Day 3 has the greatest scene in gaming history. After completely misunderstanding the assignment to play tag with Uzuki and instead playing Reaper Creeper with some random people, Uzuki gets mad and confronts Neku and Beat about it. Neku then tags Uzuki, and Beat becomes the ultimate rage baiter, because I would be annoyed if someone like Beat started calling me stupid like that. This is another day that doesn't really have an interesting fact. This is a pretty normal fact. I just want to point out the not very known fact that no scene in gaming history has ever managed to top this one. Week 3, Day 4 starts Neku and Beat in the Miyashita Park underpass. Here we see the memorial set for Beat and Rhyme, who got hit by a car. This memorial has flowers, a can of cola, and a glass of milk. The cola food item is one of the foods that Beat really likes, so it can be assumed that Rhyme likes milk as well. Week 3, Day 5 houses the possessed Uzuki and Karia boss fight. This is when they're going all out, no holds barred. In the DS version, they have their own light puck, so they can use damage multipliers similar to Neku and his partner. This is not adapted to any of the single screen versions though. However, they can also do a fusion attack, which is really cool, and it's just what makes this fight so much cooler than the last one. Week 3, Day 6 has everyone in Shibuya stop moving and think the exact same thing in their thought bubbles. To right the countless wrongs of our day, you know the rest. This actually drops the Japanese title of the game, Subarashiki Kono Sekai, or It's a Wonderful World. It isn't exactly written like that in the red skull pin copy pasta thing, instead it says What a Wonderful World Such Would Be, but yeah, the other title drop to Hanekoma. The final day, Week 3, Day 7. The final trail up the Shibuya River to the composer's chamber. The DS version has this so right. Completely silent, other than the footsteps of Neku, walking towards what will be his destiny. But Final Remix doesn't do that. Instead, they decided to put music in the most dramatic and introspective part of the whole game. This totally shatters the tone, and I mean, it is kind of cool, but like, having no music and no sound other than the footsteps of Neku just made it so much cooler. One of the reasons why the DS version is definitive. Beating the main story unlocks another day, which is a day with a much lighter tone where Neku goes around Shibuya playing people in Tin Pin Slammer. The story of this day involves going to the Shibuya River, where Joshua decides now is a great time to act really gay to Neku. Shiki's response to this is that she wants to go and supervise them and stop anything going on. This makes Shiki a canonical homophobe. Everybody comment, "Fuck you, homophobic Shiki." The World Ends With You Final Remix adds an extra chapter to the end to tease a sequel that isn't Neo for some reason. Anyway, A New Day has Koko Adarashi introduced into the main canon. Her first appearance was in The World Ends With You Live Remix, a very short-lived mobile game. However, during its short lifespan, it had two new pin brands, called Mithroscale and Maiden Innocence, and of course some exclusive pins from those brands. Some of these pins appear in A New Day, but they are unbranded, but they still are very clearly from those Live Remix exclusive brands. Anyway, that's all the facts I have. So, yeah, what'd you think of it? Want to give huge thanks to the World Ends With You wiki, not the fandom one. This is TWEWY.wiki, the wiki ends with you. This is the definitive wiki. I do also want to thank Black Jupiter for their video on every Easter egg in The World Ends With You, as I did use many of those Easter eggs as the fun facts for each day. So yeah, watch that as well. Black Jupiter are an amazing channel for World Ends With You content, and hell, you probably already know that if you're watching this video. But yeah, look forward to the next video, I guess, and hell, I might even do one on Neo if this one does well enough, or if I just want to. But yeah, bye bye.